Hello everyone, my name is Jason and I am an ISFP. Thank you for watching this video on my channel, my YouTube channel, my ISFP journey. Thank you so much. I do ask that you would please subscribe. That would be really cool and I would appreciate that greatly so that you can extroverted sensing experience my future videos and glean whatever little minuscule amount of wisdom I have to offer you. But hey, it's worth it, right? Even for a tiny little bit of wisdom. Thank you again for watching. So what I want to do in this video is I want to talk about, and I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while, the types or the functions in song. And so what I'm really good, and don't worry, I'm not going to sing. You wouldn't want that. That would extroverted sensing make you want to leave and turn it off really quickly. What I want to talk about in this video is extroverted sensing, specifically as it relates to one particular song. So I'm a big fan of the band REO Speedwagon. You younger folk watching this video may or may not have ever heard of them, but they're a band that began in the 70s, and I just saw them last time in concert about 2 years ago, but I've seen them in concert more than any other band. I saw them for the first time when I was just a wee little lad. But they have a song called I Gotta Feel More. And so when I listen to this song, I Gotta Feel More, there are lines in it that relate to other cognitive functions besides just extroverted sensing. But in my estimation, the overall song is born out of the songwriter's, I don't want to say addiction, though it could be, to extroverted sensing, but definitely the desire, the need to feed extroverted sensing. Now, the person who's going to have sort of an addiction to extroverted sensing would likely be the ESFP and the ESTP, because they both have it as their first function. But the ISFP and the ISTP also have extroverted sensing. They have it as their second function, but even those that have it as their third function could theoretically have a bit of an addiction to extroverted sensing. That's certainly possible. So let me just kind of go through the lyrics of this song, and I'll talk about it along the way. So the song starts out, it says, "I've never seen the sea seem so calm. I've never felt the breeze slipping through the trees." So right off the bat, we're getting a description of the physical world. Remember, extroverted sensing is always wanting to gather in new experiences and information and pretty much exclusively from the physical known world, what can largely be touched or tasted or smelled or seen or whichever sense since I only said four, or heard. That's the one I'm missing. So the writer right off the bat says, "I've never seen the sea seem so calm. I've never felt the breeze slipping through the trees." So we're getting that picture painted for us. And then he says, "Now I've got you." So, here we go with obviously a relationship situation. Now I've got you, and it's taken so long. All right. And then this, "I want to see more. I've got to feel more." So then he says, "I never felt young until I met you." So here again, we've got this relationship going on, and it's affecting him in the sensory. "I never felt young until I met you. I never felt fear until I thought about losing you." Now that, to me, that's a very introverted intuition statement right there. So not to get too far off of the extroverted sensing, but he's got this fear of losing this relationship with this person. That's very introverted intuition, very concerned with one's own future and how the future is going to affect the user of it. So "I never felt fear till I thought about losing you. Only a fool would think that it's all true." But then he says it again, "I want to see more. I've got to feel more." Imagine extroverted sensing just going through life saying, I want to see more. Like, extroverted sensing sees something like, okay, there's the ocean, right? And it's beautiful. And I want to see that. So I've seen it, but I want to see more. I want to see the ocean rage. I want to see the ocean when it's calm. I want to see the blueness of, say, the Caribbean, but I want to see the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. I want to see more. I've got to feel more. I can wade out into the ocean and feel it against my legs, but I want to know what it feels like to scuba dive. I want to know what it feels like to swim with dolphins or whatever. It's a constant need to gather in new information through the lens of experiencing the physical world. So then he says, I've got to feel more than I've ever felt before. Now, don't let his use of the word felt and feel confuse you with introverted or extroverted feeling functions, okay? That's not what he's talking about here. He's not talking about making value judgments. That's the feeling functions. He's talking about sensing. He's talking about taking in physical experiences. I've got to feel more than I ever felt before. There are different places to explore. I've seen the world through an eagle's eye. So he's been in an airplane, right? I mean, because I'm assuming he can't literally fly. So he's been in an airplane. And on a side note, I'm enamored with flight. I'm enamored with aircraft. I love military aircraft. I haven't done it much lately, but I used to work aircraft models, and it was primarily military aircraft. I love flying in planes. I would give anything to fly in a military aircraft. You know, whether it's an old World War II one or a modern jet, I just want to feel that. I want to know what that feels like. I want to see the sky and the land from the perspective of a plane like that. I've been in commercial airliners. But anyway, he says, I've seen the world through an eagle's eye. I've felt the ocean roar. And then he says this, I still love you to the core. F.I. To me, that's an introverted feeling statement. I value you. I'm putting you very high in my value judgment. But he goes on, but I've just got to feel more. Now, you can judge the songwriter if you want for that statement. You know, I love you so much, but I've just got to feel more. You know, I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he was saying, I love you, but you're holding me back. I'm sorry, I have to leave you and go feel more. Or if he was saying, hey, I love you. I've got to feel more. Why don't you come along with me? But I'm not really here to talk about, you know, the writer's intention. I'm just looking at the song. The song is all about feeling more, experiencing more, seeing more, tasting, smelling. He doesn't specifically talk about taste and smell. He does talk about sound, right? What's he say at the beginning? I've never seen the sea seem so calm. I've never felt the breeze slipping through the trees. He doesn't mention hearing it. But at any rate, it's all tied in together. Extroverted sensing wants to feel more. So I listen to this song and I think, here is someone that has a high extroverted sensing function. He is communicating in this song that it is a great priority to him to go places out into the world and experience everything that the physical world has to offer. Now, I'm not saying that people who don't have extroverted sensing somewhere up high in their function stack can't also glean joy from going out into the world and experiencing what there is to offer, okay? Everybody does that, right? Like everybody wants to see the ocean or see the mountains or see Niagara Falls or the Grand Canyon or the Eiffel Tower or, you know, the Great Wall of China or whatever, right? Everybody wants to do that, okay? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is those with high extroverted sensing as one of their top few functions are more likely to have sort of a sensory addiction. It's more than I would really love to see, the Taj Mahal. It's more like, oh my gosh, I need to go experience whatever. I need to see stuff that I've never seen. I need to feel things that I've never felt. Now, the problem with that is that if you turn extroverted sensing into an addiction, you really can take it to obviously dangerous places. I'm sure that your mind can run wild with where an extroverted sensing addiction could take a person, right? I mean, I'm sure that it could lead to drug abuse. I'm sure that it could lead to jumping from relationship to relationship for, physical purposes. I'm sure that it could lead to, maybe like me, I used to drive my car at like a really ridiculously fast speed, partly because I wanted to get places quickly, but partly because I really just liked the feel of going fast. So like, now everybody makes fun of me because I drive so slowly, but what I'm doing, honestly, well, it's two things. One, I don't want to kill myself in a car wreck, and I can't afford a ticket. But also, I've learned to enjoy the journey and take in all the sights and sounds along the way. So I can sort of feed that extroverted sensing monster within me by seeing the trees and the stop signs and, the other cars and all these different cool things along the way. But once upon a time, I was feeding that extroverted sensing monster by going 90 miles per hour on the interstate. And I liked it. I really did like it, but it wasn't very intelligent. But if I could get out on a racetrack and open a car wide up, and really feel that, oh my gosh, I would love that so much. Or like I said, if I could get into a military aircraft, and just ask the pilot to open it up as much as I could handle. I know I can't handle what a military pilot can handle, because they're in like top physical shape, and maybe I'm not quite there. But at any rate, I would love to feel what I could handle. All of these things are so just enamoring. Okay, it is, to a great degree, it really is like feeding an addiction, and that can take you to a place that you probably shouldn't go. So you have to be careful when you have extroverted sensing as one of your top functions, that you don't let it ruin you or destroy you. But for a person who might not have extroverted sensing as a top function, you probably do want to do all these things too, but you might not quite get the same rush or the same feeling or that same need, that driving need to just see what there is to see, experience what there is to experience, and feel everything that there is to feel. So since I've been listening to music a lot more because I have more of a commute to work than I used to, and because we got Spotify recently, and so I'm listening to music, and I downloaded a bunch of songs, and that song came on my Spotify while I was on my way home from work the other day, and as I was listening to it, I was like, man, that dude is really just laying it out there about how he wants to feed his extroverted sensing addiction. He goes on in the last verse, I think it's the last verse, I may be mixing up the verses a little bit, to say, I never did believe that mountains could move. I never did believe that the Yankees could lose. I never thought love could come my way. I want to see more. I've got to feel more. Now, though that verse right there isn't necessarily just spewing out extroverted sensing, but it's that chorus that he keeps coming back to. I've got to feel more than I've ever felt before. There are different places to explore. I've seen the world through an eagle's eye. I've felt the ocean roar. Or does he say I've felt the ocean floor? Either way, it doesn't matter. I still love you to the core, but I've just gotta feel more. Anyway, I have some ideas for other songs that I think kind of point to certain functions. Like I'm picturing in my mind, actually, like, okay, when the writer was writing this, right off the bat, what is the writer, what is going on in the writer's mind that causes this to come out? And in my mind, as I'm hearing it, I'm like, extroverted sensing, extroverted sensing, extroverted sensing. And then I'm like, okay, there's some introverted feeling, there's some introverted intuition, extroverted sensing, so maybe this guy who wrote it was an ESFP, I don't know. But at any rate, I found that fascinating, and I kind of want to do this with more songs, especially when they just hit me as I'm listening to them. Let me know what you think in comments. That would be really cool. Let me know if you can pick up on what I'm saying, or if you agree with that. Or if you have song ideas that you think relate to certain functions or certain personality types, let me know that too. Maybe I'll pick them and do a video on them. And then if you would hit like if you found this at all useful or entertaining, and if you would subscribe, that also would be really cool. And I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day. Bye now.